What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to NFL Turf Talk here live on DSM Media's Turf Talk YouTube channel. It is championship weekend in the NFL. NFC and AFC championship games will be played today between the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. But before that, we have the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes heading to Baltimore to take on the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. I'm one half of your host today, Dylan Davis. To my left, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure to support by smashing that subscribe button. Is the best spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen with us. My man, happy Sunday, happy championship weekend. What is going on?
Happy Sunday, man. Happy championship weekend. That is correct. We got some prime matchups today, which I'm actually pretty excited for. These
Yeah.
should be some pretty good matchups, and for what it's worth, these are the teams that deserve to be here and that fought their way here. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down. But yeah, man, happy championship weekend from back home in Maryland,
There you
right?
go.
A
New
little
setup
different
there.
setup for me.
I
Feel
like
a
it.
little weird with nothing in the background, but
Nah.
we'll get through it.
Looks fine, my man.
We
Looks
got
fine. But yeah,
content to make.
it's been a long season, right? Obviously, we
Yeah,
started this year two of Turf Talk here at DSM back last summer, or we started it in the summer, back all the way in June practically. So
yeah,
to get this to the starting point with a few more weeks left to go through is pretty
it's
amazing.
crazy.
But with
Yeah,
that said, you do have two very good matchups today, and I think a lot of storylines to go into both of these matchups. And listen, I know we all love an underdog, and we love when underdogs can knock off Goliath, right? Jordan Love, what he was doing to Dallas and how they almost came away with a win over San Francisco. We would have loved it in the
yeah.
moment. But my question to everyone out there that loves the underdog in the moment, would that have made for the best possible product on the field for championship weekend? Like I always look at the NCAA tournament, right, man? Like you
Yeah,
love the upsets. A 15 seed beats a 2 seed on the first day, right? Holy shit. But let me
yeah,
ask you, you get to the Final Four, you get to the Elite Eight, maybe the national championship.
yeah.
You want an 11 seed playing in the national championship, or
Right,
you want to see
right,
Kansas versus Kentucky? You want to
right.
see Duke versus you? No, you want to see that. You just love it in the moment. So what I would say for
Yeah,
these four teams is we probably have the most exciting best four teams
yeah,
out there. Buffalo could have slid in place of Kansas City,
yeah.
sure. If Dallas ended up beating Green Bay and Dallas was to beat Detroit, maybe that would have
Maybe.
made for a better NFC Championship game. But for the most part, these four teams bring a lot to the table, man. And let's start with this first game here with
Yeah,
Baltimore versus Kansas City. I already saw one of your tweets this morning. I think we're a little bit on opposite ends of the spectrum here between these two teams. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. You and I and a lot of other people looked at these receiving issues that Mahomes and the Chiefs were dealing with throughout the year and said, even this dude might not be able to overcome the drops and the
yeah,
turnovers and the poor play and the lack of scoring and executing. Even he might not be able to do it this time around. Well, here he is back almost on the grandest stage of them all, taking on a guy in Lamar Jackson who needs this, right?
yeah,
Lamar's got the MVP. He might win another one this year. He's got the number one seed. They're home. He's got the defense. He's got the most weapons he's had probably in his career as a Baltimore Raven. Lamar Jackson needs to get this one done, Scotty, but will he have enough to beat Mahomes today?
yeah. It's gonna be a huge matchup. Obviously, these are the two best teams for my money in the AFC.
Mhm.
And this in hindsight's always 2020. We got to see the Bills take on the Chiefs. They got their chance again, right? Josh Allen stepped up to the plate just like Lamar Jackson's going to do today, and like he's going to have to do today. But Josh Allen wasn't able to get it done, right? And you can blame whoever you want on the Bills. We're talking quarterback
Mhm.
matchups when we pick those names, but at the end of the day, the Bills have gotten to that spot against the Chiefs, and they've failed every time they've
Yeah.
gotten there in the postseason. So, for my money, the Chiefs deserve to be here, and going against the Ravens, who obviously deserve to be here. I think they've been arguably the most dominant team in football for most of this season. I would say between them and San Fran for the most part here. And this is Lamar's time. This is the time for him to make that ascension that I was talking about on Twitter earlier. And I say it. I want the Ravens to win. Ultimately, I just don't want the Chiefs to win.
Mhm.
I'm rooting for the Ravens. So when I say that, it's not to say that that's definitely happening
Right.
today. The Chiefs can answer the call. They can win
Right.
this
Who
game,
you're
man. Let's
pulling
be
for.
real. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs are playing with house money right now. They're playing on the road.
Yep.
Everybody says they can't win on the road. They went on the road and beat Buffalo. Now they go to Baltimore. It's going to be hostile there. But these are all new challenges for a team that, for all we know, man, between Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelsey, that core, Chris Jones, those guys that have been there, they could have been bored with the way shit has been going for the last couple of years at the rate that they've been winning, man. So all this really is on the road going to Baltimore. This is just a new challenge.
Yep.
It's a new accomplishment to knock off
Yeah.
the accomplishment list there for Patrick
Exactly.
Mahomes and this Chiefs team.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, man, Lamar Jackson has to answer the call today. They have the better weapons in reality, right? You get Mark Andrews back today, even if he's not healthy, he's a decoy, right? He could step on the field and take attention away from the other guys. OBJ, right? Zay Flowers had a great year. Now on the other side, they got Rasheed Rice, Travis Kelsey, so you can argue weapons for weapons, but when you look at it, the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, if we've been having these conversations all year,
Yeah.
this is one of your most opportune times to take that Chiefs team down, right?
Exactly.
When you talk about the lack of weapons that they have on
Yeah.
that side. So the Ravens, man, Lamar Jackson specifically, I do think that he has the tools in his skill set that he can lead the Ravens to a win today. I do think that he has the skills in his tool set that he can dominate the offensive game today, but he has to show up and he has to show out. And the reason I think that, man, the reason I kind of see where Lamar could have a day, as good as the Chiefs defense is, it's arguably the best in the
Mhm.
NFL for my money. Um, just seeing how Jalen Hurts kind of played against them, specifically in the Super Bowl last year. Now, obviously, completely different rosters, different
Sure.
teams, different schemes, whatever. But what really sticks out to me is the mobile quarterback and Lamar's ability to use his legs. But once again,
No
you
Willie Gay today.
cannot make the critical mistakes though.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key here, and it's going to be between, is Mahomes going to make that critical mistake against a fiery, aggressive Baltimore defense that's going to
Yep.
come out and hit you in the mouth, or is Lamar going to revert?
Yeah.
And I really hope that that doesn't happen. If the Chiefs win and Lamar balls out and they just go at it today, then so be it. I would take that if I'm a Ravens fan ultimately. But if Lamar comes out here and costs you the game, there's just, I mean, the
Yeah.
question marks are going to be endless, man.
For sure.
Quite honestly.
For sure. Lamar Jackson needs to win this game.
Yeah,
This is a legacy type of afternoon for
yeah.
Lamar Jackson. Listen, he's
Where do you go
27
if
years
you
old.
don't? Yeah,
Exactly. He's 27 years old. He's already got an MVP under his belt, might have his second one this year right now. Like I said
yeah,
before, he's going to have more opportunities. They're going to be in the playoffs almost every year. He's in Baltimore. They're going to be playing in divisional rounds and AFC championship games.
yeah,
Probably throughout his career, because their roster, their defense is always going to be that stout,
yeah,
and he's that much of a playmaker. But when it comes to the big time like this year, you're never going to have a more opportune time to knock off, and I'll keep saying it, that dude across the way today. You're
yeah,
never going to have, I don't want to say an easier time, but you're not. The question marks, those red flags that we were talking about with Kansas City back in week, 8, 9, 10, 11, with all the drops and the lack of
yeah,
scoring, and they lost 3 of 4 or 4 or 5, whatever that stretch was. You're never going to have a better opportunity at home hosting the AFC Championship game with Patrick Mahomes having the least amount of help around him he might have in his entire career, past
yeah,
and future. Right
yeah,
now in the present, this is probably the least amount of help at the receiver position Patrick Mahomes is going to have. Lamar Jackson has to get it done today. Look,
yeah.
you go back to that divisional round last week, and was it Josh Allen's fault totally? No.
No,
But we know that it comes back to the quarterback's responsibility.
yeah,
We know that Josh Allen threw for 185 passing yards in a divisional round across from Patrick Mahomes. That's not going to get it done. I get it. Stephon Diggs dropped a pass right in the bucket down the sideline that would have set them up in prime position in the fourth quarter. I understand it wasn't just Josh Allen's fault, but we look at the quarterback. So was Josh Allen okay enough to win that football game, Scotty? Yeah, he was
Sure.
good enough to win that football
Yeah.
game. Lamar Jackson has to be special enough to win this football game. See, I don't look at this as Baltimore's defense is going to annihilate the line of
Right.
scrimmage and get after Patrick and make him uncomfortable. And he's going to turn the ball over on this stage. And I don't look at it that, Gus Edwards and Lamar are going to be able to use their legs and just, keep the clock ticking and move the ball up and down the field. I don't see it that way. I think Lamar is going to have to make plays through the air this afternoon and outduel the guy across from him. This is the best opportunity he's going to have in his career as long as Patrick Mahomes is still playing, and he's got to find a way to get it done. This comment, don't hate, bro. Don't hate. You know why? The NFL ain't going to NFL. That man is going to be that man. See, that's where you're getting it twisted. See, everybody likes to think, and I get it. I get the calls. I get the whininess. I get the fan base. I get his wife, his brother. Annoying as all hell. I'm with you. He's the greatest quarterback on the planet. If he gets it done, he just gets it done. I'm going to tell you that right now today. All right? There you go.
Yeah. Unless they call holding at the end of the game that cost the defense. But no, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna die on that hill. But yeah, I'm with Hunter though. I want the Ravens to win this shit. I'm not, it's not even about Mahomes, man. It's that Taylor Swift shit too that makes me worry. They want her at the Super Bowl. I know that. But no, I'm kidding, man. At the end of the day, the Ravens got to come out. They got to take care of business. Like you said, Lamar has to be special. And this has to be a career day for him, man.
Yeah.
This is one that we're going to remember for a while when we talk about Lamar Jackson. And obviously, it's not all about the future and the perception of Lamar. It's about actually winning and getting this title and getting the Ravens where they're trying to get to. But once again, I think Lamar has to show up today. I think the Ravens have the better team. We've seen that over the course of this season. That around Lamar, around Patrick Mahomes, I'll take the Ravens surrounding cast over what.
Like you said, the Chiefs might have the best defense in the league for your money. Situationally, in big moments, they're amazing.
They've been there.
The Ravens have a better defense.
Yeah.
Personnel wise, talent wise, they're ferocious, bro. Like they scream that they're going to take your head off if you come over the middle of the field.
Do you think they're going to be able to force any turnovers today? Like, do you think obviously Mahomes is Mahomes,
I think you can get one, right? I think you can either, whether it's a tip ball over the middle or at the line of scrimmage, or maybe one sails on him and goes over and a safety's waiting back there for the pick. I think you can get one. I don't think you can rely on the fact that defense is going to be dominant enough to turn Mahomes over multiple times in this game. Now, maybe it's not Mahomes. Yeah. Maybe Kelsey gets it punched out like he did against the Eagles. Maybe Pacheco fumbles somewhere. Maybe it's not solely on Patrick. But if I know anything about Patrick Mahomes, he might throw some picks in the regular season.
Yeah,
dude's got the best touchdown to interception ratio in postseason history. So I wouldn't expect much coming out of his hands.
Yeah.
It's the other side that I think Baltimore has to be more protective. I don't think Baltimore can afford to turn the ball over. I think if Lamar turns the ball over, if they fumble, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to make them pay today. So that is going to be a big, big battle for me, man.
It's so wild, man, because I'm thinking back to that onslaught that the Ravens put on the 49ers in San Fran, man. And it's like, if that team shows up today
consistently, bro.
Yeah, they did it to the Dolphins. They did it. Yeah. I mean, they've done it to
a lot of people. The Lions, Lions, the Jags, the Niners, the Dolphins.
Beat the brakes off of
every team that has come their way.
And then even the Texans last weekend. I mean, C.J. Stroud ran through that Browns defense. They ran through Cleveland. Obviously, it was in Houston.
Looked like
in
a
dome is a little different.
Weekend.
Looked a lot like a rookie last weekend, and the Ravens they had that completely shut down. The Houston defense, they tried to throw blitzes at Lamar, made adjustments at halftime, shut that down. I mean, they're covered across the board, man. You got one of the best head coaches in the NFL, right? Harbaugh. How long has he been here? How many times has he been in this situation? How many times has he helped them win a Super Bowl, right? And you look across the board, like Todd Monken. I mean, just they have answers at every level of this team that's why in my head there's just no other way to get to where you need to get to. It's Lamar Jackson, man. Like he has to come out here. It can't be one of these like now if he's able to use his legs freely and he's able to get off and it's a 100-yard rushing game like it was against Houston, then so be it.
Yeah.
Great, right? That's great. I don't think you can come out of this game with 150 passing yards,
No,
man, and win this game. I
that's
just
not,
don't think it's
it's a great
possible.
point, Scotty. This has now been. There's been Dak Prescott in this postseason. There has been Josh Allen in this postseason. And now
Yeah.
if Lamar puts up that type of performance where he doesn't nothing wrong, he plays very well, but they
Yeah.
lose, you're going to get the same answers. I'm tired of it. There's levels to it, man.
Yeah.
There's levels. And this is why I get it might not be their fault specifically. But in this league, in these moments, in the postseason, you have to elevate.
Yeah.
So, like, the day after Josh Allen lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, Dan Orlovsky and people were on ESPN talking about how if you blame Josh Allen for this loss, you're an idiot. When Dak Prescott lost to Jordan Love in Green Bay, did you see what Dallas's defense did? Well, did the offense score in the first half? Did Dak throw
Right.
2 picks? Did he throw it? Did he throw a pick
Right.
6? But they were excusing it because the defense was so bad. No. The big time dudes, the stars of this league, take over. You're playing Patrick Mahomes today. This is not a 200-yard passing game, 45-yard rushing game, a touchdown or 2. That's not going to get it done.
Yeah.
You have to elevate in every area. Game picks for this one, Scotty. Who do you got?
I am going to go with the Ravens answering the call, man. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. I'm going to throw some faith out there in Lamar and trust and hope that they can take care of business at home against the Kansas City Chiefs today and, settle the Chiefs down a little bit, God damn it. You know what I mean? Settle these motherfuckers down a little bit and send them home. Let them get to the offseason early for once. I would love to see that today
Early.
from Lamar. I am going to go with the Ravens in this one. I'm thinking back to that San Fran game. That one sticks in my head. Like you said, the Jags, the Lions, there's a few other ones mixed in there throughout this season where the Ravens were asked to come to the stage and they showed out and they played their game and they were able to dominate. They got to do it in the postseason now, man. I'll go with them here.
Like we said all show for the first 18 minutes now, there is never going to be a more opportune time for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens to get to a Super Bowl, to beat Patrick Mahomes, and to do what's needed. And I do think they have the better team. Like, I don't think that 2 playoff wins changes my mind or anyone's opinion about this Chiefs receiving core. I just don't. Kelsey was amazing last week. Rashee Rice has been very good. But outside of those two, they still don't have much. The Ravens defense, probably better, more dominant.
Yeah.
But I just can't help myself by looking at that line. I'm looking at 4.5, 5 points. And I just can't help but think, when are we going to learn? When are we going to stop the nonsense of counting this dude out?
Yeah.
I can't do it, man. I know the line's 4.5. Maybe they lose. Maybe they cover. I'm taking it. But I think they win outright and get back to the Super Bowl simply because he's that special. You got Kyle Hamilton. Is Marcus Williams playing? I'm not sure. I haven't checked. But you have Marcus Williams. You have Marshawn or Marlon Humphrey, excuse me. You have Patrick Queen. You have Roquan Smith. You have all these dudes. And I still think Travis Kelce finds a way to have a day today. I think the moment is never, ever too big for the 2 of these dudes. I think they turn Lamar over once or twice. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs win a very fun and tight ball game down the stretch. But I'm hoping for points more. I did take the over. I laid more of the over 44 than I did Chiefs 5.5. So just throwing that out there for everybody.
Yeah, I think a good point with what I would say is, if the Ravens win, I think they do win, and they do cover ultimately. So that's where I would stand on my side. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be a great game. Ultimately, I can't wait to see this one actually. And
I think this is a very interesting point.
Which one are you more excited for? I guess like the second game or the first game?
I think the first game. I
Yeah,
just think
me
the
too.
quarterback matchup, right? I think that's what we look for. Lamar
Yeah,
versus Patrick, Brock Purdy versus Jared Goff. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I do think that second game is going to be a ton of fun. You have all those
yeah,
weapons for San Francisco, and then you have the Lions, who probably everybody outside of the Bay Area is rooting for the Detroit Lions,
yeah,
unless you're a Bears or Packers fans, maybe. But everybody else across the
yeah,
country is rooting for the Lions and that fan base. I do real quick before we get to that game and wrap up the show here. Can the Ravens, if it is in that one possession type of game, can they keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline?
yeah.
Ravens up 3, Ravens up 4, 5 minutes left. Do they not allow Patrick Mahomes to get the ball back? That's what I would be looking for. Because look, everyone, you go back to last weekend, Tyler Bass misses that field goal. Everyone's talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Bro, you almost gave Patrick Mahomes the ball with a tie game with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
And a timeout, I believe, or whatever. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like that's something that cannot happen today if you're the Baltimore Ravens. Because I promise you, you're going to lose that ball game. So can they not allow Patrick to get back on the field? Lions, Niners. We just spoke pretty much about the fact that the Chiefs, hey, kind of playing with house money, right? You're talking about a team that's been there, done that, quarterback, coach, multiple Super Bowls, multiple Super Bowl MVPs. They're on the road. They're not favored. We know the issues they have with their receiving core. Lamar has to get it done today for that legacy because there might not be a better time. Look at the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm putting them in the same class. The San Francisco 49ers, Terry, this is for you, have to win this ball game tonight.
Yeah.
Have to beat Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. If the San Francisco 49ers do not beat the Lions and get to the Super Bowl this year, you said it before the show, man. Where do you go moving forward?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is very simple. Quarterback.
Yeah.
What are you going to upgrade? You're going to upgrade
Yeah.
the offensive line? You're going to upgrade tight end, running back, receiver? You're going to upgrade? I mean, what, the secondary? Maybe a little bit for the Niners? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, there is one question mark.
Yeah.
And if you lose this game,
There's
like
one
you
way they could
almost lost
lose.
to Jordan Love last weekend, it's inexcusable.
Yeah. There's one way that the 49ers lose this game in my eyes, and it's by self-imploding via Brock Purdy.
Yep.
That's the only way they lose this game.
Or
That's
Kyle
not to say
Shanahan.
that's
Or
not to
Kyle
say the
Shanahan.
Lions aren't a dangerous team. That's not to say that they don't
Mhm.
belong here. It's not to say that they don't have a chance. But if Brock Purdy is the guy that everybody says he is, right? If he is Mr. Irrelevant, if he is this guy that should be in MVP conversations, then it shouldn't come down to the 49ers secondary today, in my opinion. It should come down to Brock Purdy making plays and making the right plays. And that it does fall in Kyle Shanahan's responsibilities as well. Just as far as keeping everything balanced, keeping everything in order, right? We saw what he did in the NFC Championship last year. When everything was on the line, he decided to block Hassan Reddick with a tight end, a backup tight end. So you got to make better decisions to that than that, and I ultimately do believe they will. But that's the only way I see the 49ers kind of losing this game is just by self-imploding. But then once again, it's like, why would you even put yourself in the situation to where Brock Purdy can lose you the game? You just run the football with CMC.
Yeah.
It's worked all season. You rely on your physical defense, and
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine in this game. But it's a very much the same exact situation as the Ravens in this case, because you're back here in the same situation again. You have your quarterback this time. There's no excuses to go into next season. And when you look at it from that perspective, I think this is your time. You can't keep counting on getting here, right? Like you can't keep counting on getting to the NFC Championship. And on the other side, just to look at it from the Lions' perspective a little bit, man, I would say for them as well. Like it's not necessarily that, oh, you have to win this game or,
Mhm.
legacy's on the line for Jared Goff or something here. But what I would say about the Lions is look at the Eagles from last year, man.
Yeah.
We got to the Super Bowl. We lost, on a last second holding call, whatever, at the end of the game. And where were we at when we came out of that game mentally? we were telling ourselves, we'll get back. We're going to be able to bring back the core. We're going to be able to keep these guys around. No, it just doesn't work like that
For
most of the
sure.
time. Sometimes you just have a very special
You
team
got to punch your
intact.
ticket, man.
You got to punch your ticket now, man. If you're a Detroit fan, everything is on
Yeah.
the line today. And I know it's just fun to be here at this point for
Right.
them.
You're talking
I
about a
don't
team
want
that
to
hasn't
speak
been
for
in
them.
decades.
I don't want to speak for them, right? Like
Right.
I would assume that it's just been a great ass experience to be back in the
Exactly.
postseason
Right.
and
This
now in the
season
NFC
is
Championship.
already a success for the Detroit Lions. I
Exactly.
think that's the difference.
Exactly.
Both
Yeah,
teams
that is
need
the
it because it's
difference.
very
Yeah.
difficult to get back to this spot and beyond and finish the job, right? But the
Yeah.
Niners were expected to be here. The Niners were Super Bowl favorites. The Niners had
Yeah.
the best roster in the NFL, the deepest roster in the NFL. The Niners, the Niners, the Niners. The Lions, already a successful season. Not the
Yeah.
same for the Niners. If they lose again in the NFC Championship at home as number one seed as a favorite, it's not a successful season for you guys at the end of the day. If Detroit goes home today, it's going to hurt. It's going to sting
Yeah.
for them and the fans. Successful season, though. That's where the difference comes in
Yeah.
between those two
I
teams.
agree.
But to your point, like, all right, Jared Goff, right? This system, these weapons around him, the way they're able to run the ball behind this offensive line, the play action, he's been phenomenal. Is Jared Goff trustworthy enough to be your franchise quarterback for the next 2, 3, 4 seasons following this one and continue to get you
Right.
back to this place and beyond? That's the question. So you're here now. He's been phenomenal. Probably his best season as an NFL quarterback. Maybe the Rams when they went to the Super Bowl that one year, but this has been a lot of fun for Jared Goff in this offense. Can they finish the job, Scotty? Let's get to game picks. I'm going to say no. Now, I'm rooting for Detroit. Now, I told you I like Patrick. I like greatness. I want to see Patrick back in the Super Bowl. But if I have to pick a team that I'm pulling for with the Eagles not in it, I'm pulling for the Detroit Lions, okay?
Yeah.
I just don't think they get it done. We talk about red flags throughout the year with certain teams. That Detroit defense, man, is playing above their pay grade right now. And it's still not even great. Like, you go back to that Rams game, wild card weekend, Matthew Stafford did whatever he wanted the entire first half, and then both offenses flunked out in the second half, and the Rams almost had a chance at the end, etc. Last week, Baker threw for like 350. They were able to run the ball a little bit. They're causing turnovers. I think that's something that's keeping them afloat defensively and making plays and getting off the field on some big key third downs. But the bottom line for me is I don't see this defense really being able to slow down San Francisco's offense. That's if Kyle Shanahan does not get in his own way. You know what you have to do today.
Yeah.
You run the rock. You let Brock Purdy create off of that run. You use the play action. You get George Kittle the ball in space. You get Debo the ball in space, etc. But you run the rock and you follow that up. San Fran's defense, I think, can get after Goff, can maybe cause some turnovers. I think the Niners are punching their ticket to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, man. I was actually looking it up while you were talking there, just to see Jared Goff's numbers against San Fran, just throughout his career. Obviously, he was on the Rams before, so he got to play them in the division each and every year. That could be a benefit to him. That could be a benefit to San Fran. It's really hard to say. They know each other, right?
Yeah.
To who that benefits, it's hard to say. But I also look back at a matchup. Now, this was the last time Jared Goff played the San Francisco 49ers. The Detroit Lions were defeated by the San Francisco 49ers 41-33 on September 12th, 2021. So a few years ago, it was right when Detroit first got Goff, but Goff went off for 338 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception in that game. Great game, right? But the reason I highlight that is because it shows you an example of a great game by Jared Goff, and they still lost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I very well see today with the 49ers. I do think they take care of business. I don't think it's going to be necessarily Jared Goff's fault that the
Right.
Lions don't make it to where they need to get to. But unfortunately, with the result and the way that I believe this game is going to go around, it is going to beg that question that you brought up before you made your pick, right? Is Jared Goff the guy? is he the guy? And it's crazy. It's crazy to say that about a guy that was a former first overall pick, right? Has been to a Super Bowl, now back to an NFC championship
Yeah.
again. It is crazy to say that, but that's the revolving door of the NFL, man. There was a there was a rumor that came out. Who was it that put it out about Jalen Hurts? An NFC team could be intrigued by Jalen Hurts' availability. It's like, damn, didn't this guy just lead our team to the Super Bowl last year? So I
You
mean,
know,
life comes at you fast, man. But I am going to go with the 49ers as you did as well. I do think they take care of business, and that Detroit passing defense was something I was looking at coming
yeah,
into this game. They are one of the worst in the NFL. Their corners are bad. They have
yeah,
good safety play. Their corners are horrible. And I do think, along with CMC, I do think he's going to have a big day. He just always does.
yeah.
Brandon Ayuk is my guy today for the
Ooh,
49ers. I do like him.
Toddy?
I like his over. I like the
Yeah,
tutty. I do like him to have a game today, but
that's an interesting one.
it's wild though,
Yeah,
right? Because you get Debo back, you still got George Kittle there. I
yeah,
could see George Kittle scoring a tutty too,
yeah.
man. But I think there's
In
going to
that
be a lot of
stadium.
points scored in this one. I will say that. I just don't think Detroit has enough defensively to stop the San Francisco 49ers. So I am going to go with the 49ers as well, even though I would
Yeah,
prefer ultimately the Lions to win this.
I agree.
I don't like either of these teams, to be fair, but I would ultimately prefer the Lions to get there. But
I agree,
the
man. And I
49ers,
think the
yeah, it
last
feels
thing
like
I
it's
would
meant for them
say
to get there, man.
that you brought up is if they lose, is it necessarily Jared Goff's fault? No. And then to the people that would say, well, you're a hypocrite. Why won't he? Because I don't hold Jared Goff in the same conversation, the same breath that I hold Lamar Jackson and
Yeah,
Josh Allen and that. Like, I just don't hold him to that
yeah,
conversation. Now, like you said, maybe he's severely underrated. I don't
it could be,
former first
maybe.
overall pick, right? Super Bowl appearance, like you said, traded to another organization as a scapegoat. Now
Yeah,
has that team in the NFC Championship for the first time in decades. Maybe he deserves more credit and more optimism than we seem to give Jared Goff
maybe.
heading into each and every season. But I still don't hold him to the same accountability
Yeah,
or status that I hold these other stars to.
yeah,
So, yeah, I can say they just weren't good enough all around. It's not necessarily Goff's fault. Where for
yeah.
other guys, I can
He doesn't
say,
have the
well,
Baltimore
he had to
defense
be
on the other
better.
side, right?
Right.
Like he doesn't have that. He doesn't have Roquan Smith leading a defense on the other side of him like
Right.
Lamar does. So he
Correct.
doesn't have that to fall back on. So it is a little
For
bit
sure.
different for golf. But hey, man, show up today and beat the 49ers. And yeah, you are that guy going forward for the
I agree.
Lions, man.
And
I'll
and
say that. He can prove
to
that in this
Darius's
game.
point, we are going to see some good football today. Hopefully.
Yeah, I
First
hope.
game kicking off in about 20, 25 minutes, man. Let's go get to it, guys. That is going to
Yes,
wrap
sir.
up this championship edition of NFL Turf Talk. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button. It's the best spot to be interactive here with us. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM, have a great rest of your Sunday.
Peace, everybody.